Or some people may instinctually know what is right or wrong, and because of that they might not break the precepts.
Buddhists love any kind of light. It could be a flame of a candle or flame from a cotton.
Peace is invisible because it lies inside. When it is inside,
think about all of our love and joy and peace and try to spread it.
Swadika. Hello and welcome to another edition of Meditation for All, a show which leaves you feeling spiritually centered and uplifted. I am Chananporn Rotjan, your host for today. Coming up on today's show, we will be joining Venerable Nicholas Thanissaro, who will be speaking about keeping the precepts as one way to accumulate merit by observing the rule of training ourselves to have a high quality of mind. Venerable Somsak Piya Silo will be guiding us through our meditation. We have another edition of Buddhist Culture. And lastly, Joe will interview the participants of the Middle Way Meditation Retreat. Firstly, on Meditation for All, Venerable Nicholas Thanissaro will speak about the rules of training ourselves called precepts, which help us increase awareness in our own actions and prevent us from future problems. Learn also what constitutes keeping or breaking those rules.
Just as we can apply these 5 components to the first precept, then in the same way we can apply them to the other precepts as well. For example, if you think about stealing, then first of all, the object must really not belong to you, okay? Secondly, you must know the object really doesn't belong to you. It's not like you pick up the Dhammadayada shirt and you thought it was yours, but in fact it was someone else's. It's only when you later you find it's got someone else's name written on it. You must know that it's not belonging to you. Thirdly, you must intend to take it away from the possession of the person it belongs to. Thirdly, you must make the effort to remove it. And you can be detailed in that. For example, if you want to steal a chair, then the point where it becomes a breaking of the precept is when the feet leave the ground. And it really must disappear from the ownership of that person as intended. As for the third precept, then the woman or man involved must really be someone who is not married to you, or a man or a woman who tradition prohibits as a sexual partner. For example, a prisoner, or a nun or a monk. Okay, and you must know that, and you must have the intention to have sexual relations with them. Fourthly, there must be some effort made, like removal of clothes, etc., etc. And fifthly, there must be an actual joining of sexual organs. So you can apply it for yourself. Telling a lie, you must know that a certain story is not true. It must not be true, you must know it's not true. You have the intention to misrepresent the truth in that way. You made the effort to say it or write it, and you managed to deceive the person as you intended. Okay? And drinking alcohol, for the 5 precepts, you must know that it is alcohol. The 8 precepts, it doesn't matter whether you know or not. If it goes down your throat, it's still breaking the precept, okay? There's said to be a small difference between 5 and 8 precepts in this respect. So there would only be 4 components for drinking alcohol in the 8 precepts. You get the idea? Yeah.
How like breaking the precept of lying. People sometimes say that they don't want to lie, so they tell the truth, but not the whole truth. Is that breaking the precept?
Not to tell the whole truth is not to tell a lie. Neither is keeping your mouth shut. You can only have points deducted for what you say. But if a person asks for an answer which is where the meaning is changed by a response which is not verbal, like if they say, if it's true then say something, and you know it's not true and you still don't say something, then that would be considered a lie. But normally when we know that you have to be careful about what you say, then we maybe will say only as much as is beneficial. There's a lot more about the things we say apart from telling lies, apart from something being true or not. But in order to keep within the limits of the precepts, normally it comes down to not saying more than is true. Okay. In fact, you don't need to keep the precepts in order to be a moral person. True? To give an example, there are many people who are Christians, and because of the certain disciplines which Christians keep, which coincide with the precepts, they may go through life without ever having broken the precepts, even though they didn't bother keeping them in the first place. Or some people may instinctually know what is right or wrong, and because of that they might not break the precepts. So by luck or by common sense, a person might be able to lead a moral life. True? Of course it's not quite so easy, of course it's a little bit more risky, but there are many examples of this happening. And even in my own travels from country to country, some countries where culturally they are very controlled, for example Islamic countries, often they do well in their meditation. Why? Because even without knowing what precepts are, they keep most of them anyway, just in the fact that their own religion requires them to do it. So there's a degree of social control. In fact, there are 3 ways of maintaining morality. And the first, which I've just mentioned, is what's called situational avoidance. It's in your notes. And some people, simply by the fact they have a conscience, avoid certain behaviors which may coincide with the precepts. For example, there's a story in the scriptures about a family where the mother is ill. And in the family there were 2 sons. And the older son said to the younger son, "I've heard that fresh rabbit blood could help our mother overcome this skin disease which she is dying of." So the younger son says, "Okay, I'll go out and catch a rabbit, then we can use its fresh blood to rub on the mother's wounds, and in that way she can get better." So the younger son, he went out and eventually he managed to trap a rabbit. But when he saw the little beady eyes of the rabbit blinking at him, suddenly he thought to himself, this can't be right. I'm not even sure that if we sacrifice the life of this poor rabbit, that the mother will get better as a result of it. So, thinking that, he let the rabbit go and made the wish, through the power of my compassion on this occasion, may my mother be able to get well. And when he went back to see his mother, he got shouted at by his elder brother, said, "Oh, you ungrateful boy, you haven't done what we asked, even for our mother, you cannot do this much." But then they looked at the mother's wounds, and it turned out that she had got better as a result of the act of truth which the boy had made. So this is an example of a person managing to lead a moral life even without taking the precepts in advance. It's called situational avoidance. It's for the sort of people who are able to be a teacher to themselves. But normally, it must be said that if a person takes the precepts in an official sort of way, it helps that person to be more aware of the sort of discipline which they're trying to keep. So it is a risky way of keeping to morality. The second sort is what we call planned avoidance. So when a person keeps the precepts, they take the precepts from the monk with the words Mayam Bante Visung Visung Rakanathaya. When they take the precepts in this way and they are given the precepts by a monk, then they usually try to make more of an effort to keep those precepts intact. And this is what we call samadhana, or taking the precepts in advance. There's another account in the scriptures of a forest man who one morning had exceptionally met up with an enlightened monk. And he knew that this monk was very eminent, and he asked the monk to give him the 5 precepts. Later the monk went home and he made his way back through the forest. And as he was going through the forest, one of these big boa constrictors came up and wrapped itself around him. Normally, if you are a hunter, the way in which you would protect yourself when a boa constrictor wraps itself around you is to take your knife out of your sheath, turn it with its blade outwards, and put it right up against your body, so that the harder the boa constrictor wraps itself around you, the deeper the knife will cut into it, and eventually it will give up. So when this happened to him, his first reaction was to pull out the knife and to stick it into the coils of the boa constrictor. But later it occurred to him, just now I just received the 5 precepts from this eminent monk. It's not every day I get the chance to receive the precepts in such a way. If I do this, then I will be breaking the precepts which he has given me. If I were to die today, but my precepts were intact, then surely I would have a better afterlife destination than if I were to live a long life, but to have precepts which are broken. So thinking that, he took his knife back again and put it back in its sheath. But the strange thing was that the more that boa constrictor wrapped itself around him, the hotter it became. And eventually it felt so hot that it left the guy completely alone and slithered off into the forest. So this is an example of being protected by the precepts. But in this case, the reason why the forestman trusted in his precepts was because he had taken them in an official way from the monk earlier that day. Last but not least comes the way of morality of those who have a very high mental attainment. If a person has a very pure mind, the sort of mind where they have attained stages of Buddhist sainthood, then no aggressive or unwholesome intentions even arise in their mind anymore. So there's no intention to create any harm, then of course they would never say or do anything which is harmful. True? So this is what we call avoidance by transcendental means. And there's also a story to go with this. It's a love story. Now, once upon a time, there was a certain princess or daughter of a wealthy merchant who had practiced meditation with the Buddha until she had managed to attain what is known as stream entry. You know what stream entry is? How high up is that in the order of Buddhist sainthood? First stage. It's a stage where certain forms of defilements have been taken away completely from the mind, but unfortunately sense desire still remains. So such a person wouldn't have any ill will, anger anymore, or delusion about their self anymore, but they still have sense desire. Sense desire hasn't been completely eradicated. And because she was leading a cosseted lifestyle, supposedly in a 7-story tower, one day she saw a hunter who had been captured as a criminal being escorted down the road for his execution. And as she looked out of her window, she fell in love with this guy. So she thought to herself, I will use my influence to save this man's life. And she bribed the guards to take some other prisoner who didn't matter and execute him instead, and sneak this guy out so that she could elope with him. Okay? So she gave up her life as a millionaire's daughter or as a princess and went to live in the forest with this guy. And the guy went back to his usual profession, which was hunting. And each day before her husband went to work, she would be the one to lay out all the knives and bow and arrow, etc., and traps on the table for her husband to go off to work in a convenient way. And the husband would go out and he would capture a whole lot of animals and bring them back. So did she kill animals? But she laid out all the weapons for him to do his duty, right? And eventually they had 7 sons and 7 daughters. And one day, as the Buddha was meditating early in the morning, he saw that he could be of great service to this family. So the Buddha went to the forest where he knew he would meet up with the hunter. And the hunter was very irritated that day because he couldn't capture any animals in his traps as he usually could. And when he found out the reason was that this monk, he didn't know who this monk was, he thought this must be the cause of the fact I cannot capture any animals today. So when he saw the Buddha, he immediately put an arrow in his bow and aimed it at the Buddha, who was sitting peacefully under a tree meditating. But try as he might, he could not move from the spot and he could not release the arrow. So he's stuck there. Eventually all his 7 sons came and they tried the same thing. And they couldn't manage to shoot the Buddha and they couldn't manage to move. Eventually when none of them came home, then the wife and all the daughters came out. And when the wife saw her husband and sons supposedly trying to shoot at the Buddha, she said, "Leave him alone, he's my father." And only then did they realize that this monk was of no harm to them. and the Buddha was able to preach to them, and the woman was able to become completely enlightened. The others were able to get some level of attainment. But later, the monks in the temple were having their normal gossip, having a discussion of the Dhamma, and they asked the Buddha, how can this be? This woman who was laying out the weapons for this hunter to go and kill animals every day, how can she have a mind which is so pure that she could become completely enlightened like this only after a short teaching? And the Buddha explained it's because this woman had a mind which is so pure that no negative intentions arose in her mind anymore. Even though she just laid out the weapons on the table or whatever, there was nothing in her mind which was unwholesome. She just did it. And this is why we call it transcendental avoidance. For a normal person to put out weapons on the table, there must be something which crosses their mind, which is to do with killing. But in her case, there wasn't. She just did it because it's her duty as his wife. So this is what's known as transcendental avoidance.
Next on Meditation for All is Buddhist culture. This week's show is titled From the Candlelight to the Symbol of Wisdom. This edition shows how candlelight can be used as a tool for concentration during meditation while creating an atmosphere of peace and serenity.
From candlelight to symbol of wisdom. Inviting candlelight to exist inside while meditating is a technique to still the mind inside the chamber of origin. From the gentle stillness, wisdom comes. Then the flame is turned to be the symbol of wisdom of the statue of Lord Buddha or Buddha image, which Buddhists call Gyat Blow, or the eternal flame on the top knot of the head of the statue. Not only in the day of Buddhist Lent, but also throughout the year, during any time of meditation, Buddhists like to light a candle and love to make the flame to be the tool of concentration, or only to decorate the atmosphere, to make it more serene. Buddhists love any kind of light. It could be a flame of a candle or flame from a cotton thread soaked with oil in a tiny bowl, or even in a coconut shell. It is used for chanting or meditating. Buddhists will chant or meditate until the flame fades away. This could be in the late afternoon or in the evening, inside their shelter, or out at the temple place or stupa. The outside light acts as the shade of peace, but it is only external. The real peace should be inside, because it is the production of mind. When they are in the process of true meditation, a Buddhist always invites the image of candlelight in and places it at the center of the body, inside the chamber of origin. The teaching of Buddhism said, wisdom is inside. The body of wisdom, or body of enlightenment, is at the center of the body. Then, when they meditate, they learn to travel inward, and by visualization, the candlelight is the landmark inside. The body of wisdom, or body of enlightenment, is the body of truth that turned Prince Siddhartha to be the Lord Buddha. Buddhism said, to be the Lord Buddha, one must blend the two bodies to be as one. They are the physical body with 32 signs of a great man called Rupakaya, and the principal body, or body of wisdom, that is the body of enlightenment, called Dhammakaya. The Dhammakaya, or body of enlightenment, is provable only by true meditation through the center of the body, after the stillness at that point is completed. Then, the true traveling inward begins. As candlelight can lighten up the darkness of the night, the truth of enlightenment can conquer all troubles. Based on this principle, candlelight turns to be the symbol of wisdom. With this reason, the flame of candlelight that turns to be the symbol of wisdom has been put on the top knot of the statue of wisdom or Buddha image. This belief firstly became visible at Sri Lanka around 1,000 years ago. This was not the first time that a statue of wisdom was made, and from then on, the flood of culture and changes, most of Southeast Asia was influenced. And in Thailand, the most flourished land of Buddhism, this type of statue was seen in the time of Sukhothai period, or around 900 years ago, when the exchange of Buddhist monks between the two Buddhist countries were made. In Thailand, this type of statue was named Get Pleo. This has then come to be the major type of statue making of wisdom, from Sukhothai to Ayutthaya until now. Get Pleo, with the symbol of wisdom, is not the true picture of the body of enlightenment. It is only the image of light that stimulates wisdom. It is only to convey the truth that the real light is the light of wisdom founded by Lord Buddha through meditation. It is the eternal light to lighten up the world of troublesome in which we survive.
Venerable Somsak Piyasilo will be joining us for a meditation next. A show suitable for anyone at any level of meditation, from beginner to advanced. With his invaluable information and tips, he can leave you feeling peaceful, relaxed, and mindful.
Peace is invisible because it lies inside. When it is inside, it can't be seen, but it can be touched. When we touch peace inside from meditation, we shall know that it's so powerful. And meditation is the only means, the only vehicle that will bring us to touch peace inside. Peace is really inside. Why don't we try meditation together? Welcome everyone to the program Meditation for All. Now, are you ready for meditation? If so, find your own most comfortable corner to sit. You may sit on the floor as usual with the support of a cushion, or you may sit on the chair where you feel sort of comfortable as well. And then, are you ready? We just relax and close our eyes slowly. Every session of meditation will start with relaxation. We can breathe in deeply and take a long out breath. This is in order to relax. Relax the whole body while we keep our back so straight. Keeping the back straight will make us really comfortable throughout the meditation session. We relax as if we are dipped into the stream of relaxation. It's like we are beneath the waterfall of relaxation. This makes the whole body, from head to heels, relaxed. For newcomers, we learn the concept of the turning point together. Take a good deep breath, deeper in. The wind will go past the lungs down to the middle of the stomach. Let's try. The middle of stomach, where the in-breath turns out-breath, we name this the turning point. And in meditation, we can name it the station of peace. This is the point where everyone together will focus the mind in meditation. Allow the mind to enter the center of the body. The mind makes a journey and will stand still at this very center of the body. Peace is inside, while people always search peace outside because they don't know the method. Meditation, when we center our mind inside, we click on the existence of peace inside. Now we bring the mind back home. Every time the mind lies inside, the mind is at home. When the mind is at home, the mind feels peace. Peace is felt gradually. Remain at home, the home base of the mind. Remain there for a while. It's like a soft click on the spot right inside the body. When we click it right, the brightness would arise automatically from inside. It's like the silvery moon is shining all over inside. This is, by the way, the inner moon shining bright, so bright inside. It's the warm brightness from the inner moon. Let the moon in the mind shine for a while in peace. And right in the middle of the moon, the round moon, and we decorate the center of the moon by a little tiny star, a bright dot right in the center of the moon. It's shining brighter than the round moon. The bright dot of the star is the connection of the mind and the land of the Supreme Truth. Anyway, enjoy looking at the middle. That is a tiny star in the middle of the shining moon, in much more peace. Enjoy the existence of the bright star over the bright moon inside the body. We shall realize that this is our best friend. As time goes by, time brings decay, and deterioration to the physical body. Time means aging. But this rule doesn't apply with the center of the body. Life inside the center is forever blissful. Every time we meditate and click on happiness and peace inside, life is forever young and blissful. Enjoy the bliss inside. The contentment from meditation is ever increasing. As time passes by, in the center of the body, life can grow. But as life grows, life also glows with the brightness from the bright dot over the bright moon in the center of the body. In Buddhism, it is taught that we can live above the rule of decay, but it is the power of peace inside. We can call this the invisible power of peace. Peace is the production of meditation. Peace is taught a lot in Buddhism. Thanks for the Oriental philosophy, and also thanks for Buddhism, who teach how to live above the rule of decay. In meditation, life is fulfilled, and we have the promise of a better life as time goes by. If we meditate often, the inside is happier and more all the time. It is not like the physical body that we get older and older all the time. So if we want real peace, we need meditation. And meditation is free as long as we just sit down and put practice of meditation. We can take a few good deep breaths again in order to confirm the existence of the center of the body. Remind ourselves of the bright star, bright dot of the star at the center of the bright moon. Confirm the existence of this inside. Enjoy peace in the simple way. Enjoy peace at any time of life. Feel the life forever young at any time. And once we are ready, ladies and gentlemen, Let's count down from 3 to 0 in order to slowly open up. How is your meditation? Everyone will get peace more or less from meditation. Remember to enjoy peace free of charge. Just sit down, relax, and go to the center of the body at any time in your life. Until we meet again for a better peace of mind. Remember to practice meditation every day while we are away. Until we meet again next time, have a good time. สวัสดี to all of you. Goodbye.
Next, meet Dinah Cook, an exchange student from the US who joins the Middle Way Meditation Retreat. Find out her most impressive moments at Suan Phet Kao, the retreat center.
สวัสดีครับ My name is Jinda Limsakun. Welcome back once again to the interview session. Today I will take you to have a conversation with one of our participants in the meditation retreat program, which is called the Middle Way. Okay, and Swadika. So could you tell us your name and the country where you're from?
Yes, my name is Dana, and I am from America, Arizona.
Okay, and how did you find out about this program?
One of the monks, Prapisit, is I guess, visiting teacher at a university in Bangkok where I'm doing a study abroad here for 4 months, and he gave us pamphlets for it, and I was interested.
What is the most impressive meditation moment, like experience, that you have gained from over here?
Think about all of our love and joy and peace and try to spread it throughout the world. And I really just love that moment, and I've been able to kind of pull that in and have that be something I do myself without someone guiding me through it. And that in and of itself has really helped me to just get so filled with joy that it's overwhelming and really amazing.
And what technique, when you start meditating, what technique to keep your mind stand still?
I don't think I've entirely gotten my mind to stand still yet, but the mantra usually works to clear my head of anything else, because if I'm doing the mantra, then I'm just thinking Sama Arahang instead of everything else coming into my head, so that usually works pretty well.
How do you like here, Suan Phet Kao?
It's really nice. There's beautiful trees all around, and I really like the way the camp's set up with the females separated from the males, so it's kind of really free of distractions. Grass is green, and it's just really, really conducive to feeling peaceful and feeling kind of separated from everything else and being able to let the rest of my life just go and just concentrate on being here and just feeling really at peace.
And sleeping in a tent, does it disturb you at all?
I think it's kind of fun. It's part of the experience. I mean, you're in the forest. I would just feel rather awkward if I were staying, I don't know, in anything other than a tent or a very rugged cabin. So I enjoy the tent. I have my own little private space, and that's really nice. And it's just very, it just makes you, again, feel really at peace with everything and just a part of everything around you, because it's very grounding. And it's very nice. I've got plenty of cozy blankets. And
as you know, that meditation is really a universal thing, anyone can do it. You think so?
Definitely. I think it's so universal because you can do whatever works best for you. So yeah.
How would you like to encourage others, who don't know about this program, to to join us.
Obviously going to tell all my friends about it, but it's hard to know how frequently they'll be making it to Thailand. But I know there's spots in the US, and I know I'm going to be checking them out when I get back. So just kind of word of mouth, I think.
That's all for now. We hope you join us again next week. Until then, remember to keep your mind centered at all times. สวัสดีค่ะ